People don't want to live in cities. And the cities are becoming a nightmarish place to live. If you defund the police and force people to live in the cities, it's going to be a Hobbesian nightmare in which life is going to be nasty, brutish, and short. And you can see the resistance to this because demographically, there's been a tremendous decline in our cities. Chicago has fewer people living in the city limits than they did in 1920.
Really?
Yes. In New York City, it's fewer than lived there in 1950. There's hardly a place outside the Sun Belt where there hasn't been a major move out of the cities to the suburbs, but also to other places. And the reason is people like to live in circumstances where they feel safe, where the schools are tolerably good. You can just go down the list. Now, if you notice, I'm talking about bourgeois life. Who cares about schools if they don't have children? And who cares about children? And that's people who are actually married and stay married. They're the people who are abandoning the cities. And I think Chicago's going to go the way of Detroit, which is a black hole.
Yes.
And think about Detroit as an example of this. In 1950, Detroit was the wealthiest city in the United States per capita. The wealthiest.
The motor car industry.
Yes. Good jobs. And then it declined somewhat by 1968. You had the riots in 1968, and the riots never ended. I mean, there's a sense in which the riots took place in 1968, and then you had crime on a grand scale and just continuing. The automobile industry, what remained of it in 1968, moved out. There's not a single automobile in the United States made in Detroit now. And people moved out. And then it became completely unlivable. If you go there and you were to tour Detroit, what you'll see is ruined buildings, beautiful churches with everything collapsed inside. The Guardian in Britain did a photographic essay of this about 12 years ago. It's just breathtaking. It looks as if Detroit had been bombed, but it wasn't. So you can destroy civilization, and that was done there. And there's a move in that direction now, and it extends into changing the curricula of grade schools, junior high schools, and high schools. The curricula of universities has already been changed. And the hiring
And the curricula in
patterns,
the university then filters back into the education system.
yes, oh yeah, it starts at the top and it works its way down.
And of course it starts in kindergartens. People overlook that, but it's the basis of learning starts in the kindergartens.
It does, and there are other things that have developed that have influenced this. The post-World War II mobility made divorce easy. When in my father's was born in 1902. In his generation, if you worked at Gulf Oil Company, which is where he worked, and you abandoned your wife for a floozy, you'd be fired. And the reason is the wives of everyone else in the business would not tolerate what you had done, and their husbands were obedient. It's not like that now.